we should be good. And thank you, everybody, for coming. The information session today has some of our usuals. Ed Plan, Katie's going to talk a little bit about. We have Carolyn talking to Sigdus Pro about reasonable progress. Just to review some more professional development opportunities for our educational interpreters, and then some SC Teams updates. And that didn't move. Okay. Of course, I'm going to have technical difficulties.
Lisa, if you hit your right arrow key, would it move?
It's not doing a darn thing. There we go. Doesn't like where I'm clicking. So we'll start with our agenda item 1, and that's Katie Heiss, our Ed Plan guru, and she's got some information for us. Katie, take it away.
All right, good afternoon. So the first thing I'm going to talk about is the April release that is coming up May 1st. So it's technically not April, but it's May. But it is the April release. And so some of those little sneak peek items, and I say sneak peek, but really those are just the ones that I have already reviewed and I know work in the system. We're reviewing the rest of them this week. But the MDR event, so the MDR is going to now be an event. You'll be able to run a report on that, and it'll flag in the students' events, which was a big thing that we got feedback on. The consent for initial provision of services will be included as its own separate document, and the student's full name, including the suffix, will now print in the header. So currently it's like first name, last name, and so now it'll be the student's full name, and it'll print first name, middle name, last name, suffix, and the suffix will pull over if it's there from PowerSchool. So if you don't have suffixes in your PowerSchool names, you'll want to make sure that they're there for us to pull over. Can you go back, Lisa, real quick? Sorry.
I hope so.
You're fine. So just one thing I sent out to power users and Ed Plan contacts today was some configuration changes. And I just want to make sure, like, we have these development changes that they come out with a release. They're happening right now bi-monthly, and then they're going to be going to quarterly. So we're seeing these releases in April, and then we're going to see releases again in August, then October, and then December. And so they're going to be slower, where configuration changes are things that they're like drop-down menus where we can add things a little bit more quickly, and things that are configurable within the system that usually can, take a week to get fixed. Development, that all takes time. That's more like money involved with like budgets and like how many hours is it going to take to develop that. So just a better understanding of how that works. So that's why you're going to see in today's notes that I sent out, it's a sheet that I made with just like simple configuration changes that were made. Most of them we talked about already in office hours and on the last LEA call. So they're just little changes. And then these developments, they are more, I want to say robust changes in the system. So that is the difference. Okay, Lisa, go ahead. So we're going to be doing or offering a power user training, so an initial. So this is for staff that maybe are new power users. They came in, mid-year. They've changed roles. At the end of the year, they're gonna, change. They're gonna go from a teacher position to a coordinator position, and that. And so you're wanting them to get them the initial power user training. So this is the training that was done back in February and March of last year. It's not like a refresher. It's not anything new and exciting. It's that same old. We're going to take them step by step through that whole initial process of becoming a power user. So there's a registration link for that. I also sent that out in today's email. But if there's a need for it, we see a need for it, we'll offer it again this summer because sometimes you don't know about those staffing changes. So if you are interested or need more, you're like, hey, yeah, will you please do one in July, or just email me and let me know what the feedback is. I'm more than happy to schedule. I just need to know, I don't want to schedule them, and then have one person show up. So we want to figure something out, if there's a need for it. And go ahead and I think you're saying I already sent the email. I'm pretty sure I did. Let me make sure I hit send, because I've been very anybody confirms that they got that. Let's see. I didn't hit send. It's in my drafts. I will be sending it. I meant to say I will be sending it after this meeting. Sorry, I don't know. I had Sherry look over it, and I looked over it 15 times to make sure that there was no errors in it. And then I don't know, I saw something shiny and I forgot to hit send. So my apologies. I will send that right after. Virtual office hours, April 24th. The big highlight for virtual office hours is we're going to be discussing those April releases that are going to be coming out. Oh, and I wanted to add the release that's coming out. It's coming out on a Thursday. I know there was a lot of feedback about, could we do it on Friday? This release, there's nothing that's going to change anything with like the workspace or cause any issues. It'll be a little bit different than last time, where last time, if with the LRE, if there was something that was checked and the meeting was Thursday, then it was going to change over. So we went ahead and just kept the Thursday, because I think that it'll be better to have some of these things sooner than later. So since they're ready to go, and that is how PCG runs that date, I just thought it would be a smoother process to let that go ahead and go in for Thursday. And then what'll happen is it'll go in on Thursday and you'll see it on Friday. Okay. SSO, so just an update about single sign-on. Right now, we have 10 districts that have integrated to single sign-on that are using it. It's been very successful. We've had a lot of positive feedback. We have 7 more districts that are going to be integrated during the next 2 Tuesdays. So we're doing the Tuesdays in April. We're waiting on a few districts to respond. If you're one of those districts and you're not, we received a list. And so what we're finding from some of the districts is, even though we're using it, we're not like fully utilizing it. And so all of our teachers don't sign in this way. So it's not something we want to move to. That's fine. We just would like to know whether or not you want to proceed and move forward. I'll be sending out additional emails to districts about that. If you're not currently using ClassLink, it'll be available in July with the state contract for ClassLink. And if you're moving over to ClassLink and you want to change your sign-on, how you're signing in to EdPlan, you can do that once you're in ClassLink. We'll be reaching out again this summer to say, hey, ClassLink's available. Do you want to use this? So some of my language in this slide has changed a little bit, because when I reread it, I was like, oh, it doesn't sound like you have an option. So you have an option to complete this integration or not. So that is fully up to the district as to whether or not you're going to use the single sign-on that's available through ClassLink, or if you're going to continue to use the multi-factor authentication. But again, I will recommend that with MFA, you have more than one way to log in. So whether that's the email or the text messaging, Google Authenticator, but I like the text messaging. I think that's the easier one. All right. Procedural safeguards. I asked about this on the last LEA call. If you had any templates that were translated and you wanted to share with us to share with the districts. So far, I have the templates for English, Spanish, and Chinese. They are housed in the resource information widget on the training site right now under procedural safeguards. But these templates are also found on the OSIS website. So just trying to put that information out there for you to have. And I'm still looking for like I said, my goal is to have all of the languages that we have the system translated into. They are available for districts to use. And edit the way they need to edit, with their logo or their cover sheet for their district. So that is all I have. Are there any questions? I will send that email out in a second here too.
Double checking the chat, but nothing in the chat. So I think we're good, Katie. Thank you.
All right, thank you. Have a good afternoon, everyone.
And Carolyn, and your agenda item number 2, Sigvis Pro, and you're up.
Good afternoon, everyone. I do want to start by asking everyone that's on the call if they could put their name and their role in the chat. We do need to provide documentation of who's in attendance for this presentation. So once again, your name and your role within the chat for us, please. We're going to talk a little bit about significant disproportionality as pertains to discipline, identification, and placement. Next slide. So what is significant disproportionality, right? When we're talking about significant disproportionality, it is referring to an overrepresentation or underrepresentation of a specific racial or ethnic group in certain educational categories. And for the purposes of significant disproportionality, we focus on overrepresentation in identification, placement, and disciplinary reactions. Under IDEA, significant disproportionality is when these disparities are noticeably different than what you would expect based on demographics overall. So for discipline, we have a threshold of 3.0, and for identification and placement, 4.0. Next slide. And just to summarize, basically, significant disproportionality is the risk in which a student is more likely to be identified or placed in a particular group or category or disciplined more than any other race. So when we're talking about significant disproportionality, we do need to look at some reporting requirements. We look at a cell size and what is cell size and N size. So what are comparable sizes that would give us good quality feedback based on our data? And so if a cell size is 10 or less, if you have 10 or less students, and 30 or less in the N size, those are excluded, which means that the population is so small that it would give us homogeneous results. Our results would be skewed. Once again, when we're talking about the threshold for identification and placement, it is calculated out to 1 decimal point at 4.0, and discipline is 3.0. We do use a multi-year data, so we use data for the most recent 3 categories. So when we do significant disproportionality for this, for the 24-25 year, we'd be looking at the 21-22, 22-23, and 23-24 data sets. And we are required to incorporate reasonable progress, which gives the LEAs an exclusion or a way out for progress. Currently, previously, we had reasonable progress for identification and placement, but not for discipline. And the reasonable progress for discipline is a 0.1% reduction, and that says 2 years, but that should be 3 years, but that should be 2 years. So we want to see a decrease in the data. I'll make that corrections. So when we're talking about significant disproportionality, what data sets or what data sources are we talking about? And once again, you can see the 3 years that we're referencing. So we want to look at, I need to change the years on that too. For when we're talking about identification, it is encompassed of students ages 3 through 21, and we're looking at the child count and the enrollment file. It is the 45th day enrollment file that we compare this data to. When we're talking about placement, we're only looking at the school age population. And so we're looking only at the child count. So it is your child count from your recent year child count report. We're looking at this total number of students that was placed. And for discipline, we are also looking at, and it's the placement for separate school and residential facilities. Discipline, we're looking at your child count and your Table 5 discipline report, the total removals from those two files. And 5K does include, like I said, all school age population students. Next slide. As a part of our DMS audit, it was recommended that South Carolina implement a flexibility criteria for discipline. And so with that being said, what our recommendation is that we would increase the threshold back to 4.0 from the 3.0, and allowing for a decrease in discipline for 0.5% over 2 years and 0.1% for identification and placement for 2 consecutive years. And reasonable progress is a way to allow an exemption based on progress towards improvement. Next slide. Okay, how will it work? And so this is just an example. So we're looking at the discipline for 21-22 is 5.0. And that gradual reduction of 0.5% over each year. In year 22-23, there's 4.5, and 23-24, there's 4.0. So although you still met the criteria for the 4.0, you would be granted reasonable progress because your data decreased by 0.5% each year. Likewise, for identification and placement, looking at the 0.1% reduction. So if there's a 4.5 for 21-22, 22-23 is 4.3, and 23-24 is 4.2. And I feel like I'm talking super, super fast. A 0.1% reduction. So once again, you can see that although they met the criteria for significant disproportionality, they would be removed from the list based on reasonable progress for those data sets. At this time, are there any questions about significant disproportionality or anything that I've said?
When does this go into effect, Carolyn?
Good question. We are looking to implement that this year. So the analysis that I'm doing right now, I can tell you that in looking at it, we would have, there's about 10 districts that would have met the threshold for discipline that would be removed from the list based on the reasonable progress.
Yes. Any other questions?
Yeah, quick question. It's just me, Carolyn.
Oh,
But
sure.
there won't be any type of retro. Like we won't go back looking last year. I just want to clarify that for the individuals that were identified this year.
Were issued a sickness findings, but
Yep, and I guess I was asking that for Jenny.
Okay. Sure. If you have any questions about significant disproportionality or want to have a deeper discussion about it, please feel free to contact either myself or Shannon, and we'd be happy to talk you through any questions that you may have as it pertains to significant disproportionality. The data managers will receive this information on next Thursday during our data managers call.
Great.
And
Thank
don't
you.
forget to add your name and your role in the chat. Thank you.
Thanks, Carolyn and Shannon. Our agenda item number 3 is more professional development opportunities for educational interpreters. I think that, one thing we're trying to do, that the interpreter regulation is still bouncing around over in the legislation. And we don't really have a definitive what is it going to look like yet answer as it goes from the subcommittee now to a full committee to look at. So we just want to make sure that we're providing as much professional development opportunities. I think one thing we could say, and Peter, you can jump in if you want to, is that we've pretty much agreed that on one thing, and that is that it will not begin until the 26-27 school year. So that buys us another year. So that, I call that a win for us. we're not winning too much over in the legislation this year, but I think that is one thing we've all agreed on. And so that's going to buy us quite a bit of time. So just when you get your PowerPoint, you'll be able to, and I think Sarah's already uploaded them for you, that the American Society for Deaf Children offers some online ASL classes, and some practice opportunities in real time. So those will be there. From Texas, they have a storytelling library for ASL. It's just a resource that you might be interested in. The American Sign Language Interpreter Service offers some inexpensive $40, $20, $10 for some different online courses, and they're all virtual. American Sign Language Interpreting Services located in Minneapolis, but they do a lot of great virtual stuff. The American Society for Deaf Children, they do have workshops and webinars and online events. Membership is $35. They usually charge $25 for non-members for a class, so it's almost kind of less expensive if you just join the membership. Then you can do as many classes as that you want to, and they're all virtual. And this is just continued from there, as they also have a Saturday ASL for young children online workshop and class. So at Summer University, Robert Hill, I don't think I did see him pop on. This is just kind of a preview. Let me go back. Preview of some offerings that he will have at Summer University this year. And then the Educational Interpreter Summer Immersion Program is going to be at University Center of Greenville, with Dr. Deb Cates and Dr. Kim Kurz, and just some registration information for you. And then the summer mentoring program at Clemson, no fee to that if anybody was interested in that as well. So just that. And
Yeah,
then
I was, sorry.
go ahead, Peter.
Yeah, I was just going to add that, so, I mean, basically the regulations had gone through the State Board of Education, and then it went over to the legislature, and that's where there was some concerns from some of them. So that's when we started to look at some other possibilities. But when Lisa was speaking of it, there might be another year. What the several of the associations asked for a higher standard. We had originally proposed a regulation at 3.2 for the EPA score, and that the associations wanted 3.5. But basically, the compromise was that if we were going to go to that higher standard, that it would have another year for people to improve their skills and take the assessment, get higher scores. Now that still has to go back through the process. So this is not a final deal by any means. I mean, it would have to go back through the state board and then to the legislature again, which in a way buys time. But I'm saying all this to say that the interpreter regulations they're required by statute. There will be some in place. It's just a matter of what the content will be and when. And so one of the biggest things that we attempted to do is we want to support this. So, I mean, everybody wants the quality of educational interpreting to be improved. I mean, everybody on this call, everybody that participates in it. So it's a united front. So the question is how to get there. But the main thing and why you're seeing us, talk about it at LEA sessions quite a bit, is just to make people aware of the opportunities. And as these slides show, there's many opportunities, both virtual and in person, mentoring and sessions, professional learning sessions. There's a lot available. There will continue to be a lot available. And that is an effort to get out ahead of it, to improve the quality, to improve the skill level. so that, you know, when the time comes that the regulations go into effect, that we've already started moving the bar. So we would just encourage you to definitely have your educational interpreters participate, take advantage of these opportunities, because the regulations will be coming and there will be standards to be met. But it's just a matter of time. But I think now we'll probably have sufficient time to really see some movement in this area. So that's
Right.
just kind of
And
a
just to
summary of
add
what's
to
going on.
that, Peter, I know some folks asked me for information about additional, trainings that might be virtual, that not necessarily the Clemson or the Summer University ones, but, any additional ones. So we tried to kind of, find some of those additional ones that would be optional for districts as well.
Yeah. And we're continuing to look for more and more opportunities, and we will be adding it certainly over the coming years, and keep them as much of it in place as we can to support this work.
Okay. So SD team updates, and I think Deanna's on for this.
Yes, hi, thanks, Lisa. You can go ahead and
Mhm.
advance. We are excited to have our last Evidence-Based Practice Network event of the year. Lots and lots of people have registered for this one, so please join us if you can on April 30th. And we will record this and post it after the session if you cannot join us. But if you can join us, we do send certificate renewal credits. All right, Lisa, we can go on. Summer University, Lisa mentioned this for the sessions that Robert will be hosting. Each TEA center will be hosting sessions. We've had lots of registrations so far, so we're excited to keep seeing those come in. I think we've had about 100 people register, which is super exciting. So please check out the sessions and register soon, because even though we have lots of options, there are limited spots. So we want to encourage you, if you can come, to go ahead and register now so you can secure your space for professional learning in June. These are the highlights from our summer session. So Academic Alliance is, of course, focused on those academic areas. So reading, math, progress monitoring in those areas, ELA and math. So we hope if you've come to some of our sessions before, you've seen Dr. Devin Kearns talk about reading. We have such positive feedback when he's here to always bring him back. So he will be back as you're implementing new math standards. You might want to consider coming to check out Dr. Brad Wetzel's presentation. Again, another phenomenal person in the field of math who can give you great strategies. And then, of course, Dr. Erica Lemke. She will be new to doing the presentation in our state, but really as a national expert from the University of Missouri, I believe she's from, and she will be here to talk. And her session is actually over 2 days. So when you do register for Summer University, please note if some sessions are multi-days, and most TA centers have some multi-day sessions. So when you're registering, please make sure and note that. And I'm not sure, I may have one more. Yes.
Yeah.
We're planning for next year already. I know many of you are. If you have any ideas, we'd love to get those from you. Please give us feedback. You can scan the QR code or link into the form that's on the slide. So we hope to hear from you all. And thanks again, Lisa, for giving us the opportunity to promote these professional learning.
And I just want to thank Ask for the MTSS conference, because a few of us, probably about 5 of us from the office, went. It was fantastic. I have to say myself, I went to Dr. Riccomini, his session about, how we learn math and how we learn and retain math, and the learning brain. And it was phenomenal. Changed my whole just my thoughts on how, we know so much about reading, and this was just so nice to learn how we learn math as well. So it was a great conference. So if you didn't get to go this year, maybe you want to check it out next year, because it really was uh wonderful speakers. So thank you guys at Ask for that. And then Skippy.
Hey, thank you. We too will be part of Summer University, so I'm glad that Deanna shared that. We also, with the end of the year coming up, I don't know how it came this fast, but we're there. We have our evidence-based practice and action end of the year available on demand, and that includes a module on assessment and data and child outcome summary, the exit, and also transitioning to kindergarten. So if there's anybody who's interested in that, you can click on the link or you can use the QR code, and that'll give us access or give you access to those modules. Next slide, please. We also have our leadership and teaming modules available on demand. Those were written by Dr. Jane Everson. And if you are working on either building up your team, your district team, or strengthening your district team, or even just getting started, that is some great information. Again, just like the others, you can click on the link or you can use the QR code to access that. Next slide, please. And then if you will put down on your calendar, we're super excited to have our 3rd annual Early Childhood Inclusion Conference, and that's going to be Thursday, September 25th at R2I2 in Columbia. Our theme is going to be Keys to Unlocking Potential, and you can see our goals here. And as participants in this meeting, you get the hot off the press notification that tomorrow our call for proposals will be coming out. So we hope to see you there, and we look forward to everybody's participation.
Thank you, Melissa. And our next information sessions are Tuesday, May 6th, and then Tuesday, May 20th. And let me see and that's it. Any questions regarding anything today, or just any questions you have in general that we may be able to answer today, or we may be able to put it in another info session? Feel free to throw that in the chat. It's quiet. Everybody wants to run home and finish their taxes, I know. No, just kidding. With nothing else, then everybody have a great afternoon and a great rest of your week. And we will see you May 6th. Thank you.
You can stop the recording now, Lisa.
Oh, yeah, thank you. $10.